Welcome to the ABQ Accent, where catalysts, innovators, and risk takers share what their accent is on their work. Like a spoken accent, we all have an inflection or emphasis on where we put our energy. Join us to learn how these folks are putting their accents to work, building their vision of the future, and how you can get involved. Hi everyone, I'm Mariah Harrison, and this is the ABQ Accent. I'm here with Katy Anderson from Roadrunner Foodbank. Welcome.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So I'm going to do a little bit of an intro because, I did a little bit of homework and we've spent a little bit of time together, but I'm really looking forward to getting to know you better. Okay, so after this, you can fill in our blanks.
Sounds great.
As I said, Katy's with Roadrunner. She is the Vice President of Strategy, Partnerships, and Advocacy. She began there in 2014. So my goodness, is this going on 17 years?
We are
13
almost, 12.
13,
Yeah, we're getting there.
Focusing on special projects for the Community Initiatives team and has since moved on up. Her latest position allows her to lead innovative efforts in increasing food security. Thank you. Creating systems that allow for greater data-informed decision-making and leading the organization's state, local, and national advocacy platforms.
Yes.
And programs.
Yeah, that too.
You were born in Portland, but graduated from Cibola, and your familiar roots are New Mexican.
Very much.
You were recruited by Vanderbilt to be a part of their vocal music performance, where you earned your BA, and then followed by additional graduate studies at Belmont and University of Georgia.
Yes.
You've also been a featured soprano soloist with the New Mexico Philharmonic and are the incoming board president for Albuquerque Coro Luke's, a semi-professional adult community choir.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, there's pieces here. There's so many puzzle pieces to Katy. So something I'll lead with and I guess lead you into is the quote here that I found. You said that is really beautiful. Strong teams that center service in people and are thinking strategically can make beautiful music together.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yes.
So I'd love for you to talk more about the team you're on, but how did you come to this space? Tell me more about where you're at.
So how I came to be where I am in my work today, got started in nonprofit work, kind of accidentally when I was living in Nashville, Tennessee, and fell in love with it, and knew this is where I want to be. This is something that speaks to my heart.
That's what you did some more graduate work in.
Yes, exactly. So got the start there and continued in nonprofit work, and then got the opportunity to come back home, bringing an infant and my husband with me. Yeah. God love him, and we've had an incredible time, incredible experience as a family being here in Albuquerque, but landed in at Roadrunner because of kind of an opportunity that came up out of nowhere, and a real desire to get back into the world of food insecurity, addressing food insecurity, and working with marginalized populations. Right. The music school that I worked at in Nashville, Tennessee was specifically only for low-income families and children. And so a lot of the challenges that I saw there were around people having access to the food that they needed. Right. And so in this role, I get to be hopefully a part of some solutions for Albuquerque and potentially for the state as well.
Absolutely. Well, and maybe we can talk about some of what you've seen over the last 10, 12 years towards addressing some of that access and solution-oriented work. Roadrunner is a really powerful agency in the state. Let's talk a little bit about the work they do, and then we can dive deeper into your role.
Absolutely. So in New Mexico, Roadrunner is the largest food bank by quite a bit, and we also serve as the Feeding America member, which means that according to Feeding America, from a national standpoint, Roadrunner is responsible for what is happening around food access for communities for the entire state. And the only way that we can do that is by working hand in hand in partnership with hundreds of other incredible groups. Very specifically, other food banks. Food Depot up in Santa Fe is an incredible partner, and they specifically cover a 9-county area. We also work closely with Community Pantry in Gallup, with Echo in Farmington, and with Food Bank of Eastern New Mexico in Clovis. Nice. So that's kind of the food bank group we work with. And then on top of that, about 350 to 400 plus partners
Right.
in every single county in the state. And that's the only way you can get food out to folks. You know, it doesn't happen just from our office. The food goes out from our huge warehouse. A plug for anybody who would like to see what it actually takes in the massive warehouse to come down. We'd love to have you anytime.
Volunteers, hashtag volunteers, please volunteer.
Yes, hashtag volunteers. Thank you. Yes, that's the only way it happens. We actually welcome close to from 12 to 14,000 unique individuals every single year
Wow, yeah.
to volunteer. And that's how all that gets done.
Telling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a hub. It's one of a few hubs, but it is a primary hub as
Yes.
a role and as a functioning partner.
Exactly.
And so those other agencies are pantries or senior centers or particular programs.
Exactly.
Tell me a little bit about that distribution, maybe visual?
Yeah, absolutely. So we, dependent upon the community, right? In Albuquerque, obviously, we have a much larger community, a lot more opportunities for folks to hook in to support.
Sure.
That is not necessarily the case in lots of parts of our state. I think of very specifically Catron County, which is to the west of here. Hidalgo County, which is the boot heel of our state, very small populations and not a lot of resources available in those communities. So the way we partner there looks a little bit different,
Sure.
and the support we can provide there. But right now we're working really hard on increasing access everywhere across the state, including in Albuquerque, so that anybody who is in need of food at any time of the week or day can get access to some help.
How so?
Well, there are a lot of different approaches. Some of those include having folks available to answer the phone to help support people, having access online to maps that people can very easily access and look up information, and also looking at some unique distribution methods, including looking at their locker systems, refrigerated locker systems that work a little bit like the Amazon's lockers, where you get whether a QR code or some kind of code, and you can go type it in and actually have a door open and get access to a box of food at any time of the day. So that's something that's in the works right now that we're looking forward to rolling out in the near future.
Yeah. I really like that. Yeah, might as well use the technology at hand.
Absolutely.
And then it requires less like ongoing manpower, it seems like. And if people can access that, maybe a registration system and find that location.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Particularly in very rural areas where you may have a pantry that's open, once or twice a week. And if you miss that opportunity, you have to wait for the next time they're open. Whereas in this particular situation, they could put a box in a locker and somebody could come by and get it when they need it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We'll just keep drilling down.
Yeah.
Because I really like one of the things you were talking about is data informed decisions. And one of those things you utilize more often than I guess in the past. Tell me how it came to be that you're utilizing information from the census.
Yes, absolutely. So previously, the way that we really figured out how well we were meeting the need was at the county level. And when you go back east, counties are tiny. But when you come further west, counties get bigger and bigger.
Makes sense, yeah.
Some of the counties that we have, I've already mentioned Catron County, but Catron County is 6,000 square miles.
Is it really?
It is. It is massive.
Wow.
And 3,000 people live there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have a lot of counties like that in our state. Obviously, Bernalillo is kind of the odd man out, and probably Doña Ana as well, because of the large population centers.
Yeah.
But the rest of our state looks a lot more like Catron.
Sure.
So the questions that we really had were, we want to drill down even further and see at an even more granular level, where are some of those areas that are really popping up as areas we need to target and focus on. So what we were able to do is go in and look at census tract level information, and very specifically food insecurity percentages, also number of individuals in that census tract. We were able to look at something called the Social Vulnerability Index and the Area Deprivation Index. And pulling all that data together, we were able to create a map that really highlights where are those census tracts across our state that have very specific challenges and potential need for additional support around food. And we've used that map over the last 2 years to target where we're reaching out and partnerships that we're seeking so that we can do a better job.
Yeah. So that sounds like an internal tool, and I'd love to hear how it's maybe evolving for the systems that you have for distribution.
Yeah.
Is that also something that other people could look at or maybe draw from?
Absolutely.
To just maybe educate themselves, not necessarily to find food, but is it how do you convey this information to the public?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a link on our website that allows folks to go in and take a look at that map.
Okay.
I think there are a lot of better ways we can get the word out there and share that information. And that's part of my job in the coming year is how we communicate that better.
Okay.
But we're also utilizing that map to look at how well the need is being met in those communities. We can do kind of a high level missing meals estimation based on food insecure number of people, and then determine how well are we meeting the need. Recognizing too that just bringing food in isn't necessarily the only way to meet the need. And that's been part of ongoing conversations at the Foodbank too, is that it's not just about bringing a truckload of food, though that is incredibly powerful and important, particularly for folks that are in need and waiting to get that food. But there could be other issues at play that we have an opportunity to support on. And that's also part of the advocacy work that we are doing.
I don't think that you can do this from dry data alone. And you guys have a history of building those relationships in order to find out what those additional needs might be and what those unique needs in those areas are.
Yes.
What is it that you've done to ensure that you have that information necessary to address the vulnerability, et cetera?
Absolutely. One of the things that we've done over the past, starting in late July and through kind of beginning of February of 2026, is holding listening sessions. And we've actually done 23 now, primarily across the central and southern part of the state. But what has come out of that is some incredible feedback from community members around what they're seeing on the ground. And there are themes. Cost of food is a theme everywhere.
Right.
Need for homebound seniors is a theme everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. Yeah. But there are very particular themes that have come out of different portions of the state that have brought forward opportunities for not just our organization, but potentially other organizations to do a better job, whether that's informing just basic information. There's a lack of information around resources everywhere. And it's worse in some areas than others. So that's highlighted that for us. And we're getting ready to launch, I'm working right now on the next round of listening sessions so that we can drill down in some of those communities where there was more to learn. There's always more to learn in every community. Sure. I want to make sure I say that. But where it was some deeper work that needed to be done. And one of the other themes that came out was so many of the incredible partners that we work with sometimes are not very deeply connected with each other.
Oh, sure.
In community. And so the opportunity to really build some more local level coalitions and create a space for folks to come together to have those important conversations. Because we'd get everybody in a room and, one person would say, well, we're really seeing an issue over in this area. And then another group would say, well, we have something to address that. And they didn't know, and they live in the same town. So it was great to be able to connect folks. And we're already seeing those conversations building and increasing between groups. So if we can serve in that capacity, that's great.
Yeah. I, just speaking from one experience where I was at a listening session here in Albuquerque. Go back just for a second for me. This is the time frame between when and February that you've done the most recent?
July 2025. We started in the southeast corner of the state.
And 23 in that time period is no small thing, especially when you're doing such fine data gathering to the best of your abilities, qualitative and quantitative. I was experiencing the same thing. There were people in the room that would say this is an issue, and someone else would say, I know somebody, or I know a thing, or a place to go, or well, let's talk. And that was it felt very Albuquerque to me. Like, let's work together for this. Let's figure it out. But it's not, you never really know what the challenges are that might be encouraging or not encouraging so much as maybe facilitating ongoing separation of information or people not working together,
Yeah.
lack of just understanding of the resources, or the people down the street, because especially in nonprofits and maybe in low resource nonprofits, high need, it's very easy to get into the day to the day of the hard work.
Yes.
And everything else just feels extra and it feels heavy and it feels hard. And so for you guys to be able to take a role in the facilitation is just leveling everybody up.
That's the hope, and the reality that when you're existing, to your point, in, a smaller community or kind of a community that maybe doesn't have as many resources,
right.
There can be a lot of competition amongst these disparate groups, like we're competing for the same money, we're competing for the same, additional resources, and being able to say like, hey, we don't need to live in that space. This doesn't have to be a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
And it's not. And I think as an organization, historically, I will say starting to work at the organization in 2014, who we were then has changed pretty drastically. Yeah. And the level of support that I think the organization desires to provide, the funding from the state legislature back in 2025 provided some incredible opportunities to do a lot of that work. Right. And I can't say enough how thankful I am for that support. Right. And it was incredible support.
Life-changing. From
our legislature. And it was bipartisan support too, right. Which was incredible. But
in response to
the need we're seeing and telling the story around, we have communities out there that are, they're really struggling from a resource standpoint.
Like the changes in SNAP.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like we can't, places that are, let's say, we can't provide any fresh produce because we have no refrigerator. Well, let's buy you a refrigerator. That's something we can do. Yeah. And in some parts of our state, the challenge that they're experiencing as well is that they can't get a refrigerator there because nobody will deliver a refrigerator to them.
Oh my.
So in that place, Roadrunner ends up being the purchaser of the equipment, and then we put them on our trucks and take them there because FedEx and UPS and all of those package delivery groups will not go there.
Interesting.
And there are quite a few places like that in our state.
To me. I do say so.
Yeah, so just put it on the back of the Roadrunner truck and there it goes.
Yeah. Well, and often it's going that way or coming from that way anyway.
Yep, exactly. We're going there already.
There's a lot of different directions we could go. I love the facilitating, the learning, the evolving, the data use, what else is happening? Because I think, let's see, you just came back from Washington, D.C.
Yes.
From what's called a fly-in with Feeding America.
Yes.
And you had mentioned that Roadrunner has a specific role with Feeding America for New Mexico.
Yes.
But what is a fly-in? What do you do?
What do we do?
Yeah. What are you trying to accomplish?
It's the idea behind it is to bring all these advocates together from across the country, for all of us to get to meet together, and which is always an incredible thing.
Yeah.
It feels like you go walk into a room and everybody knows each other because we all know each other's challenges and struggles. Every state's different. Every food bank is different, but there are the same themes that run throughout for everybody. So you kind of feel like you're with friends from the moment you walk in. But there's also training around how do you talk to legislators and what are some of the important things we want to focus on and how might you have those conversations.
That's good.
And very thankfully, Jill Dixon, who is the executive director at Food Depot, was chosen to be a part of a national committee for Feeding America around policy engagement and advocacy.
Nice.
And we work incredibly closely together. So we were actually able in that space for both Roadrunner and Food Depot to provide support to other food banks around how do you do this. So we meet together and then we have a day that's called Hill Day and we all get released upon the hill and we run from office to office and meet with all of our legislators. So we did the same. I will meet with both our senators' offices and all three of our representative offices.
Right. Yeah. I'm visually following like an overhead of DC and watching the little map dots of you guys running to the right places in the buildings. And having these really, really important conversations for New Mexicans, raising that awareness and educating. Yeah. And we're lucky in New Mexico to have such leadership that is listening and doing their part to advocate themselves.
Yes.
But thank you for being on the ground,
Yeah.
Advocacy is no easy thing.
No. And we are lucky to have a federal delegation that is interested in having those conversations. That is not true for everyone. But we have very good conversations and a lot of desire to support the work of food security in New Mexico.
Good. Yeah. I feel like writing a thank you card to all of them, day in and day out.
Yes. Yes.
Let's do something else a little more. I want to talk about SNAP.
Yes.
And just a little bit about that.
Absolutely.
And it's heavy and it's convoluted and it's a little depressing. But I want people to sort of just get an understanding of where we're at right now in New Mexico with the state of affairs, maybe how there's a little bit of work around improving the situation, like you mentioned, with additional separate funding.
Yeah.
Where is Roadrunner's role in that evolution of what's happening?
Yeah, you said it so well in saying it is a convoluted and complicated situation.
Yeah.
So I will try to say it in the least words possible. When the OBBBA Act went through on July the 4th, it changed a lot of things federally about how the SNAP as a program works. And some of the pieces that nationwide,
yeah.
Exactly. There are elements that each state can choose. There are some, like the federal poverty level that the state wants to utilize.
Okay.
Is a state choice, but there are a lot of things around who is actually able to access SNAP that the feds decide. So some of the things that changed were a group of roughly about 50,000 to 60,000 individuals in the state of New Mexico, due to those changes, no longer will have access to SNAP at all. So that's deeply concerning. Also, there have been some work requirements that have been made more stringent and challenging, and they were always there for SNAP. They have been now added to Medicaid, which is another element. A lot of people who are food insecure are also on Medicaid.
Sure.
So we're expecting to see shifts and changes there too. There were some very specific groups that were removed from waivers. So some folks used to not have to do the work requirement. That includes vets. It includes people who are unhoused. So those groups now have to do work requirements. That's not a waiver that exists anymore. So there are a lot of groups that are challenged through all of this, and a lot of folks that are just confused.
Sure.
A lot of rules changed. It just causes a lot of confusion. There was something about the error rate. I promise I won't go too far into this. But I do think it's important to comment on states are going to be required now to do a cost share of SNAP.
Okay.
That means a cost share, a greater cost share on the administrative side, meaning the cost for them to actually make SNAP happen from the state level, but also from the benefit side. And depending on how high your error rate is, it increases the share that you have to pay.
Okay.
So New Mexico was one of the states that had a bit of a higher error rate. And it's important to note that the error rate has nothing to do with people being on SNAP that aren't supposed to be there.
Okay.
It has everything to do with getting something, a certain process done within 30 days, or it's administrative rules and regs. So that's what the error rate means. It doesn't have anything to do with fraud or waste or abuse or any of that, or people being on SNAP that aren't supposed to be there. That's not a thing. And also, there are already systems in place. If there's a situation where the state, makes a mistake, which can happen on determining how much funding someone receives, it's a very intense process they have to go through to decide that. If it's off by even a couple of cents, whether overpaid or underpaid, that's considered an error.
Wow.
And it is recouped. So if someone gets overpaid, and I'm not talking big money, I'm talking like $10, then that next month they get $10 less. It is pulled back.
Interesting.
And on the other side, if they're underpaid, it is a handout later. But I think it's important, the error rate confuses people and they hear that and they think, well, now there are all these people that are utilizing SNAP that shouldn't be on SNAP. That's not a thing.
Okay. So people can look into it and they can maybe check into there are other supports that Roadrunner provides for people to understand their benefits.
We do. We actually have a call center and we have folks that will take calls and help support folks as much as possible.
Okay.
On the administrative side, there are some things that we may have to send folks to talk to HCA, which is the state department that manages that.
Yeah.
But we do everything we can to support them and answer questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's a lot.
It's a lot, but what I'm thinking is you're able to speak to this because of the years under your belt in the ring.
Yeah.
Learning on the ground with these communities about their need and learning about what Albuquerque and the state is capable of with our partnerships. And a lot of hope. So thank you so much for your knowledge and give a damn, Katy.
I do.
I know.
I care a lot. We all do. The whole staff does. I mean, you have to if you work there. Yeah. Which can be hard.
I was thinking into my feelings. I just felt it. I was thinking into my feelings.
We talk at the Foodbank a lot about compassion fatigue.
Sure.
I think particularly during the government shutdown and the unbelievable hot mess of what was going on with SNAP then, it was kind of how can we spell each other? I'm overwhelmed today. I need a minute to step back. And others can step in that time. And, you have that opportunity to share that load because doing it alone is absolutely impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a sign of a really strong organization. And so we have limited time left.
Yeah.
I told you to go quick. I do want you to recognize a little bit about how people can be involved and support the work. And then I'll change gears for us.
Of course. Yeah. There are all kinds of ways people can get involved. Of course, donations are always welcome.
Of money. Because you find your own food and you have your own systems for that.
We do. We're going to be able to buy a lot more food with the money that comes in. However, there are a lot of folks out there that like to do food drives. And we love those too. That any way that you want to be helpful to the food bank, we would love to see. Volunteering. We have lots of volunteers and lots of volunteer opportunities. Okay. It's not all just physical labor. We also have folks that come in and help us stuff envelopes and do things like that. So if that's what somebody likes to do, come on down.
That's right. Yeah. There's a wide variety for a reason.
Yes.
So speaking of spell, or what I mean by that is resting, separating, grounding for yourself. Yeah. This is big work. It's public and it's heavy sometimes. And I honor that about you. What else are you bringing energy into your life around, creatively around your family? You've got the choir. I'd love to hear more about all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love being a mom. I have 3 gorgeous, wonderful, brilliant daughters. And I'm probably as their mom a little bit biased, but they're pretty great. Yeah. And 2 are in high school and 1 is in elementary school. And they are all singers and musicians in their own right. Very, very talented kiddos. So it's never quiet in our house, ever. Yeah. In fact, last night, my 9-year-old was trying to go to bed and my 17-year-old decided at that time that it was time to practice songs for musical theater performance that's coming. I was like, could we not?
You're the second wind.
Yes, right. Maybe not sing, fortissimo while your baby sister's trying to go to sleep. But it's it's a really joyful environment to be around with all that music going, even when things are heavy. And music is absolutely that release for me. I have rehearsals on Tuesday nights and I look forward to them like a salve to my soul. Yeah. And my husband's a performer and a musician as well, a teacher. So my family and music are really where I lean in.
It's a beautiful outlet. Yeah. And you get to see so much more come from that. Like it's a productive type of thing with the kids, their performances, and who knows where they're headed after high school like you. Yeah. Looking for those recruitment letters.
That's right. A little monetary assistance is always helpful from a collegiate situation.
Yeah. Although UNM's music program, why not stay local too?
UNM has a great
local stuff.
NMSU, ENMU. We have some really great music programs here as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are there things that you're looking forward to maybe this spring or in the summer that maybe you want to give more energy to?
On a personal level?
Yeah.
Or, yeah. I think probably eating more healthfully is something that I'm always focusing on. And working at the Foodbank has actually been an incredible help around that.
Yep.
We're building out our food as medicine work. So learning more and more every day about how to make better choices and good choices. That's something that I'm leaning a lot more into. And then we were talking earlier, sharing out, building a built-in bookcase into my upstairs on my own. It's coming together nicely. I think that there will likely be a professional cabinet maker who would look at it and maybe not agree that it looks great, but I'm excited about it. That's right. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you get to come to see the real fruition of.
Yes.
I love that too.
That's right. Put the kids to work painting it. Yeah, we're going to do that soon.
Cool. You have to show me some before and after, maybe.
I will. I will be happily do that.
So as we come to a close, is there anything you want to leave us with about, Albuquerque and living this life among nonprofits or just being Katy in the world?
Well, I'd say a few things. I think right now is it's a challenging time. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I think it can feel very overwhelming. It feels overwhelming to me at times. I just encourage folks to get plugged into something that you care a lot about.
Yeah.
Don't give up. Don't think that, even what you might perceive as the smallest action isn't going to matter, because it does. And find that thing for you that is a place for your heart to rest. Whatever that is, cooking, or I love to cook too. Cooking, reading, going on walks, art. I mean, whatever it is, find that something, because there's no way you get through a season like this intact without that space to care for yourself.
That's beautiful. Thank you for also reminding us that it's a season. It's not forever.
It's not going to be like
but
this
we still
forever.
need to use our tools.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Well, Katy, we look forward to more from you, and I will put up the link. It's rrfb.org for people to learn more, to get involved. Please do jump in where you can.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mariah.
Yeah. And we hope more people come back for another ABQ Accents.